he'd been in the game 50 years already. And his name was David Tomlinson, and he was a legend. And he hardly moved his mouth, and he couldn't move his neck at all. He was like a sergeant major, and he says,
turn this Discord
you
overlay off.
Yourself, like that. And it was like, all right. So I jumped into the shot myself, and they just had 3 cameras. They had a line up and down with the horse, and I just had to basically stay near the line so I could stay in focus. And I just rode up and down and said it, but every time I'd yell, the horse really helped. Every time I'd yell, the horse was kind of skittish, and he'd take off. And it was like the whole time, everything I could do to hang on to him. So he gave the performance a kind of an anxious, kind of angry, like I'm ready to go. I want to go.
So,
it
you should have,
into my body language and into the speech.
Vanquish the betrayed.
So that horse was the best acting teacher I ever had.
Do you, can we put you to the test here? How much of that speech do you remember?
Oh, God. I don't remember. I'm terrible at remembering. This day to that. Well, it's an interesting speech because basically it's a kind of another version of, in a short way, of Shakespeare's, of Henry V.
It's so brutal that
That's St. Crispian's Day. So it's that. You count all the days from this day to that, and I can't remember what the Shakespeare. I used to know the Shakespeare speech too.
Do you know the Braveheart one though?
I don't.
I bet
they do.
I bet you do.
Somebody who does? Does anybody?
Yeah, you all know it.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone knows the Braveheart as well, don't they?
Right.
There we go.
I remember it, honestly.
You can't.
From this day.
I'm being really annoying, and I'm just leaving.
Something about so you can come back here and tell our enemy. You may take our lives, but you'll never take our freedom. It's like yeah, like, something like that.
Amazing. Scottish accents, right? Let's talk Scottish accent, because I feel like you've done a couple of films as a Scot now. You almost are an honorary Scot, really.
Yeah, there you go.
How, there's a rumour that Sean Connery might have been a contribution towards you perfecting the Scottish accent.
I love Sean. He was the best. He was a cranky old guy. That I met him at a dinner party, and it was being thrown by a Hungarian. And his wife had made goulash. And you haven't lived until you've heard Sean Connery utter the word goulash. So I was killing myself, And I said, "Do you like goulash?" "Yeah, I love goulash. I always have bread rolls with my goulash." Great guy. Apparently, get pretty angry on the golf course. We had the same caddy, and the caddy told weeds with the rattlesnakes to retrieve putters and 9-irons and all sorts of stuff. And if Sean missed a shot, he'd be railing, "You did this to me," But, he was great.
Yeah. Back to Braveheart. It's quite gory in parts, isn't it? I mean, there's no denying that. I have to be honest, I do that a lot because, and I listen, but I don't want to oversee because in my head it's real because it's very well done. Am I right in saying that the studio, where they sort of were like, yeah, it's maybe a little bit too much, you might have to tone it back a bit and maybe cut some out?
Yeah, we did.
Nice.
I had to cut one shot so they could take it from like 17 down to a M15 or something. I forgot what the ratings are here.
18 to a 15.
Yeah, and it was the shot with the guy getting his throat cut, and so in the version over here we just show it on the back.
So is there apparently there's an hour of extra footage somewhere.
There is.
Is there a director's cut coming?
Mammoth. And did anyone here ever watch the Apocalypse Now Redux? Okay. he dropped the right things on the floor, didn't he? Right? And that's the way I kind of feel about Braveheart. It's like there is an hour of other cool stuff, but if you put it back into the film it would be too full. I mean, right up to the last minute, it was 3 hours and 15 minutes, and I was ripping my hair out. And I got a note from the studio head, Sherry Lansing, and it was a good note. It was a general note. And she said, I don't know how to be specific or put it into words. She said, but it's kind of like you're letting the audience get ahead of you a little bit. You're kind of spoon feeding them. And I was like, and I said to the editor, what the hell? And then we both went and slept on it.
Yeah, it's hard to solo. It's level.
And it enabled us to cut it for 28 minutes.
Especially since I don't have the ability.
So we lifted another 28 minutes when we thought there was nothing else to go.
My yield
And it
doesn't
made
feel for shit.
So, she was very astute.
Yeah.
It was a great note.
What was the 28 minutes that continued?
Oh, God. We reshuffled a whole bunch of things, and it just, I can't even tell you, it was so complicated that we sort of restructured one whole thing into a montage, and we did this, and we moved that over there, and we took something that was in the beginning and moved it to the end. And it was very interesting, but it was a good lift.
Oh, well, what a brilliant movie that was, wasn't it? Just so good.
105.
Have you been back to Scotland since?
I beg your pardon?
Have you been back to Scotland since?
I don't believe I have.
Oh, you have to change that.
Oh, yeah. No, I'd like
Maybe,
to. I went there when I was a kid.
Crap, is there no druid trainer in Orgrimmar either?
Okay, so after
brutal.
Braveheart, we had a lot of other films. We had Ransom,
Wonder,
we
like-
had What Women Want. Then we had The Patriot, which was the highest salary, according to the internet, that you'd had
some
so
point you
far.
get, like,
a rumored 25 million.
Yeah. Rumored, yeah.
Ability to teleport to that weird druid place, right?
Signs with Joaquin Phoenix as well. And then this is an M. Night Shyamalan, is that how we say it? You now are no longer directing in these films here. You're taking a little step back. Is that quite nice that you get to go to the Winnebago and you get to go and play golf? Or are you going, you're not going to do that shot, are you?
No, it's not like that.
Is it not?
No, it really isn't.
I need to decide what profession I'm doing.
He's a force on his own.
So you should have trained engineering over there at
his vision. I was
Razor
just
Hill.
trying to help him enhance it. So
We got
generally a good soldier.
Vietnamese
Even if I
copper.
don't agree with something. And that goes, when I worked with Jodie Foster, of course, and she was amazing, And sometimes this is really weird. I kind of in my mind
That is fun.
question, you think? I said, Randy, you really want that? And she went, yeah.
I'll just do tailoring.
Okay, I'll just be a good soldier and I'll do whatever you want because I love her. And but when I watched the finished product, I had to say she was absolutely right. So there's nothing to say I'm right and they're wrong. So sometimes I get a good instinct on stuff.
Yeah. Can I ask you, of all the films you've made, this is a two-part question.
Yeah, maybe as a warlock, you don't need the
Which of
engineering
films
crutch
are you
like a
most
warrior
proud to
does.
have acted in, and which one are you most proud to have directed?
Oh boy.
Taylor, you can make yourself some gear and shit.
Well, I think I don't know. That's a tough question. They're like children,
Enough
so you can't really
spells
pick
and
one
shit.
as far as
Need, like,
acting.
dynamite. Attack dummy.
Yeah, Hamlet was okay. Hamlet was hard. Wait, can you imagine? Can you imagine doing a soliloquy, a Shakespeare soliloquy, and you do the last third of it first, and then 1 month later you do the first 2/3 the same scene? That's how that was shot. It was really tough. Oh no, it was I don't know. I can't remember. That was up to you.
How about then the ones you directed? Have you got a favourite out of those?
I do. I think that's good. Apocalypto, I was really proud of because I think it was pure, and it was just, that and like the passion. They're almost like silent films because you're not
Doing
not depending
I didn't do
on
no
the
add-ons,
vernacular. You're
but
not
I did
depending on the
no
language.
leveling guide at least. So.
Okay, no, well, this is the thing. So you've already said how it can be quite stressful being a director,
some actual
being the boss of the
thinking.
set, and then
Plus thinking stuff.
let's not have it in English. Let's do it in Mayan for like apocalypto. Now, how easy? Well, let's put it this way: what's the most challenging thing about doing a film in a foreign language? Because I mean, how do you know, for instance, that they are saying what
juked them.
you want them to say?
I just because it doesn't sound like English, and they don't know anyway. But the other thing about it is it doesn't bother me at all, and it's almost like you're hearing it in
Live
English.
tap
It really
seems
is.
like such a
And
good
so it's like
fucking
because you
ability.
wrote it or wrote it with someone, so you know what the
Live
script
tap,
is. I mean, I wrote
20
Apocalypto
mana
in
for
English,
20
but it
health.
was only spoken in Mayan.
I think
And none
I'm
of those
missing
guys,
something.
some of them knew how to speak it. There were like 3 Mayan speakers in the whole
Ah,
film.
shit.
And one was that little spooky little
Do you have
girl.
a carry your weight?
She'd never spoken English or Spanish or anything, and she came from the jungle. She'd never seen ice cream or rice.
Yeah.
And when we brought her into the town, it was sad. She kind of had an anxiety attack because there was traffic, and it wasn't a big town. And
Yeah, we forgot
she
that.
asked us
Let's just
why
go get it.
someone put a house on top of another house,
It's important enough.
like more than 1-story buildings. And
Remember, we were supposed to do it
you know,
before
brothers and
we logged off
sisters
to
and
go
your
eat.
family in a village, you know.
It's
So
up in the
After
tower.
the movie, how have they dealt?
The guy gives you like
life
a 4
after
slot
that?
bag.
who those
Yeah.
folks? Yeah.
Yeah.
She was great. She was amazingly really smart.
Got me.
Her name was Isidro, and she didn't want to do it. She was 7, and she said, "I don't think I want to do it." I wanted the kid to do it because she was great. So I figured it out. She's just like, so I got this other little girl, and I put her up
Maybe,
there and got her started. And
We'll
the
go
other
to
one pushed her
Order
out of the way.
after
So
Don't
it
know what
worked.
you're
after
talking
this.
about.
Instead of doing encroachment
Amazing.
going down,
She said she
we'll
wasn't
sit
gonna
in
be
right away.
outdone.
We'll go.
Yeah. I mean,
More so you get tailoring and stuff, and
The next,
I
the
guess
other
I'll
thing,
fly to
the other
frickin'
film in
Thunder
another
Bluff
language.
to get my
Obviously, you mentioned the
training.
Passion of the Christ. I mean, if you're going to choose a film
there might be a druid.
also
I can't
not
remember.
in English,
I don't
but
think
then
there
you're
is.
going to choose a subject matter that everyone is very strongly opinionated on as well.
Yeah.
That was a brave move too.
Yeah, well, it's like I just followed the book basically. I mean, it was said that I didn't, that I made it up. I mean, I didn't. I mean, I read the book and it was in there like that. So I just I did what was straight ahead. I mean, I enhanced it with my own imagery
Yeah.
and meaning and tone and so forth, but and made it as real as I could. But I think
My kill sec.
the power of that film was that it was in another language. Because when I was, somebody asked me a question earlier about when do you want to be a director. When I was 17, I wanted to be a director. I didn't quite understand how.
So weak.
I was in high school and I was studying the English language and I was looking at where it came from, and there was some kind of low guttural German or Old Norse or something. And I thought, that's really cool. Imagine Vikings coming up to your shore to chop up your town and take all your stuff and kidnap your wife, and which sounded like a good idea, but it was like, I said, what happens if he speaks English? You don't believe me, and he's not frightening, but if he speaks some low Germanic tongue, all of a sudden he's really scary to me if I don't understand him. So that was where I first got into the whole notion of the power of the reality.
Yeah,
to
Grant's looking to break a few
actually-
eggs too.
The power of the passion is that you actually get the
From that
written
cook
word
guy
on
on
the
your way up
bottom
to
of
the
the
tower.
screen at the same
And
time
he's just sharing with me.
as you're hearing
get these
something you
herbs.
don't understand
Oh.
and trying to, your
Shit,
brain has to
that's brilliant.
Oh, up
work
in
a
the
little harder to
watchtower.
put the whole
Okay.
thing together in a story that you're
Yeah,
probably
pretty
pretty
few
familiar
eggs.
with. Most people are.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
did,
it's in every book and
Don't
every
have that one
hotel
yet.
room, or it used to be anyways.
it did phenomenally well, Passion of the Christ. I mean, was it highest rated, highest grossing R-rated film of all
Ever,
time?
yeah.
Amazing. All made through your company as well, Icon.
Yeah, I think
so funny
it
the
was
Passion
for a
of the
long
Christ is
time, for
all
almost
rated
like,
R.
wow, for like 15 years or something, and then
The
the thing with
Torture
the
scenes.
Ryan Reynolds thing with
Yeah,
the
his
ogre.
favorite.
What's that thing?
Yeah.
The
That's all it is the
Deadpool.
violence.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that finally beat it.
Oh, did it?
I think that finally beat the R-rated record. Yeah.
There was a little hiatus in your career, a little 10-year break.
Yeah.
Very well documented. We don't need to go into details on that, quite honestly. But
Self-inflicted wound.
I'm sure you reflected in that time on what had happened. But I want to know, and during that time, how much did you miss making movies?
I did, and it never stopped me from writing them. So I have a pile of scripts up to the moon, and stories that I want to tell, that I haven't had the opportunity to tell yet, but I will.
So why was it you chose? Because Hacksaw Ridge. Can we just Hacksaw Ridge? Absolutely phenomenal. Great story, great cast, amazingly shot, best director nomination. Why did you decide that was going to be your comeback movie?
It was interesting. The notion captured me. I mean, it was this incredible story.
If they're doing anything, Persona's tense.
Wow. Who goes into a situation like that without a weapon and he's fearless?
Sure, grabbing encroachment
And
too.
why is he fearless? I mean, he's operating on a higher level to what I do. And I look at that person, I think, man, that is some balls. Because Medal of Honor guys, people who are awarded that medal, they usually do something in an instant that's like, insanely brave. And it just happens all of a sudden. This man kept doing that stuff over and over and over again. And not just there, also in the Philippines. And everybody already knew about this guy by the time he hit Okinawa. He was already like, this guy's just fearless. He'll crawl out and get anybody under fire.
Yeah. It was so good. It was a really good film. It came out 2016. Did you feel that was a good time? You were ready to come back?
If you're gonna have, well, I guess you can't get it on your
and it was edifying.
100 gig hard drive, but if you're gonna have one add-on, you should get the
win the statue.
Oh, is
voice,
it?
AI voiceover thing.
It's actually better not to win it.
Oh, really?
There's a curse attached.
They say that
where it
about
reads
X
the quest
Factor as
text.
well.
Yeah, there you go.
It's really cool.
I mean, it's good. You came back with a proper bang. You got that nomination. Best not to win, you said, I guess.
Yeah.
Did you feel that everything was going to be
Feels
good
Brad
and it was
Pitt,
all
man,
going to be
level
coming
29.
back? And because you have been busy ever since. Busy.
Yeah, I keep my hand
Too
in.
close to
And,
the footman.
I have a 4-year-old now. I don't know.
How many children do you have
I have
now?
9. I have 9. There's a lot of children.
How are the age ranges? So you got 4 up to
41.
41. And how many of them act now?
There's probably about one of them has done a number of times. A young man called Milo, and he gets out there and does his little thing now and then. But like that, there's another couple there's one who directs, and then there's another one who acts. He's going to, I think.
Right.
They're all they all have other jobs and stuff, which is good. We raise them that way. I mean, the other guy, he flies helicopters. He's a welder. He makes furniture. He knows how to kill you with Brazilian
You're
jiu-jitsu.
focusing too much on the game.
He's got all these skills.
Yeah.
And the other, they've all got great jobs. One of them's a cameraman. Steady cam.
Does he get a gig on
Yeah.
our movies?
Yes, a
Okay.
couple. Yeah, he was on Hacksaw.
Yeah, I'm trying to log into
that cool
Restream
shot where
chat
the guy
so I
comes
can
flying
get
at the
my
camera on
stream chat
fire.
on my
That's my
laptop.
son. He's
Okay.
not the guy
keeps
the guy on the
making me do
camera
the
is
guy
my son.
behind.
Yeah. I didn't like my
AI
son on
training
fire.
verified
I
stuff.
wanted to.
When Hacksaw Ridge came out and Bloodfather the same year, that's a
Go
good
ahead,
film
Niagara,
too.
Sky, please.
When they came out, you started doing interviews, started doing press interviews, and then you said, we're going to be bringing out the Resurrection. Right? Now that was 2016. Is it coming soon?
Yeah, sooner because what I had to. It is such a massive undertaking that you can't do it lightly and you can't do it quickly. You have to really consider what it is that you need to show in order to be pointed.
That text.
It can't be linear. It has to.
So
You have to have
infuriating.
many
It's like
things to
you
juxtapose
go through,
against
like, these
one another, even from different time
5 or
periods,
6 different
in order
prompts.
to illustrate what something means.
And then it says,
in a more
please
full
try
way.
again when you
And I think
get to the end.
it's going to be a jigsaw puzzle to do, and I have 2 scripts.
You're just failing the,
One
is
of
this
them
a
is very
crosswalk?
structured and a
Yeah.
blank script, kind of more what you'd expect, and the other is like an acid trip, and
It's enough to
because
make
you're
me
going
never
into
use
other
these
realms
fucking
and
servers
stuff.
again.
Okay.
I mean, you're in hell. You're in, it's like,
Is
you're watching the angels fall.
Oh, wow.
It's like crazy.
Is Jim going to come back as Jesus?
Yeah, of course. Nobody else.
Right. And he's
You should be going in and
17
kill
years
Benedict, I
older.
think.
Does
Yeah.
he? How does that work?
I don't know. It's going to be Rip Van Winkle kind of thing. 3 days later, look, he's got wrinkles. You can fix that stuff now.
Yeah, I know magic of makeup.
It's good.
I know.
Yeah.
I've got
Well, you're
loads
youthful.
of foundation
You're
on here.
youthful.
There we
Yeah.
go.
I haven't actually done it to myself.
Can't stop going for the
Can you tell us,
herbs.
please, this is exciting, about the new John Wick spin-off, The Continental?
Oh yeah. Yes. I get it. It's a three films. It's like a prequel thing. And it's set at that hotel. And so I guess I'm the proprietor of the hotel. But in my case, because I'm so old, they're going to call it the Incontinental. So it's like.
Have you started practicing martial arts? Kicks?
Oh yeah, no, I did that years ago. I am too old.
When will you be filming that?
I'm going to Hungary tomorrow.
Cool and everything.
And when will we see it?
Goulash,
I guess it's goulash. When will we see it?
Sure. I mean, that's up to the powers that, I don't know, Lionsgate, I think we're doing. So it's for television.
Right.
So it's like 3 90-minute features.
I have got so many more questions. I want to know now a movie that you wish you'd starred in.
Yeah, some of the ones I turned down, I'd love to have done Rain Man, for instance, But when I saw it, I was like, wow, it's pretty good.
Third
But he
body
did a
pull
great
in like
job.
3 seconds.
I mean, he got accolades for it. So I don't know that I would have done it better, but it would have been cool to have a crack at something like that.
Which film would you have liked to direct?
No, I actually got a script one time. And Matt Damon and Ben came and it was, and they gave it to me. He said, "Would you direct us in this?" And I wish I had, because it was, and I almost did, but I just got real busy with something else, and I didn't do it. Then somebody else did. But and then because I had a part for myself in it and stuff, but it ended up being really great. There was this film called Good Kid, and it was like, and they just kind of threw it in my lap, and I was like, that's great, and I could play that part. But Robert, which was great. He was fantastic. Poor Robert.
There were a few Oscars attached to that film as well.
Amazing, But I sort of saw that, and I was like, that's kind of cool. And these kids, their energy was raw, and Robin was so good in that. I thought it was great. But I think Gus Van Sant did it. I think that's who directed it.
Yeah, he did. He did do it in the end.
Yeah.
When you look back at all the different genres of films you've done, so we've done, you've done action, you've done really amazing war films, you've done comedy, you've done animation. I mean, we could go on. What's your favorite type of film that you've done?
Disregard that.
They're all the same. They really are. They're different. I mean, comedy, doing the What Women thing was, it's but yeah, well, yeah. And
Sorry, just trying to
well, that was written and directed by Nancy, and she was like, she got onto some level that I didn't even understand, which was kind of good in a way, because I wasn't meant to understand.
Are we gonna get 2?
Oh, thank you.
You really liked that film, didn't you? Okay, let's talk co-stars now. Favorite co-star?
Oh, Renee.
She's been in a few films with you.
Huh?
Renee's been in a couple, certainly with you, hasn't she?
She's good. When I met her, she was like, wow, she was so humble. In fact, on one of the shoots, we were shooting in the streets of New York, and of course they put these little kind of Winnebagos on the sidewalk, and you kind of live in there in between shots while you're doing shots. And I went in there one day, and she was making omelets for homeless people in her trailer, and I was like, it was like she was doing that, so it was really cool. I said, and I told her, one of these guys could kill you. It's like, I mean, I was just like warning her. I said, you can't do that. You got to be careful.
That's Renee Russo. That was
That's who she is.
Ransom and Lethal Weapon you did with her, didn't you?
Yeah, a bunch of those. Yeah.
Any other leading ladies that have been great to act alongside?
All of them. Yeah, I haven't had it. And we've remained friends for years, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's because
Should be able to do it with just a double.
if you ever dated any of them, you wouldn't be friends. You know.
Doesn't quite work.
I actually did date one, and it was for a short time, and we're still friends, so that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Do you live? Have you ever lived in Los
But
Angeles?
you're,
I know that you've lived on the other coast as well, but do you ever?
Thoughts on both,
What's it
and I'll
like to be in
try to
the
aggro
middle of
Benedict.
Los Angeles, and how do you feel about it?
Yeah, Los Angeles used to be a kind of a hub for filmmaking and that industry. It's not now. You don't need to be there.
Yeah.
So it's a nice place. The weather's great. The taxes are terrible. And a lot of people are moving now for tax reasons.
Yeah.
Start with the MLA
All
on
sorts
the
of
Marine.
reasons now. There's sort of like, there's this mass exodus out of LA.
City
and
cast, I'll
moving
go.
to, Montana, Wyoming. It's getting scary.
We've talked about the
Thought I'd Benedict
Continental.
too.
Can you tell us, and the Passion, can you tell us about some of the other projects you've got coming up? Because if you look on IMDb, it's just like pre-production. I mean, you've got a ton of films.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff, and as I told you, I got like so many things that I've worked on and written that could go. The problem is time management, and you can't do them all at once, and the energy it would take to be like, I'll be 100 years old by the time you finish just
I won't loot it in case there's something I don't need.
which I won't make it.
Oh shit,
Although my
Benedict.
dad did live to be one.
Yeah, come take the 2 potions in here.
Yeah. Amazing.
Let's kill this guy.
102. That's because
Oh, you got
some
combat.
organic gardening, vegetables and stuff.
Are you that kind of person? Are you a vegan, soy milk, all that? No?
No, he used to eat critters. He'd eat meat and stuff. I like that stuff. I think O positive. I go for that blood type stuff.
All right.
You're not O positive.
Up top.
Oh, really?
No.
You can
Yeah,
tell.
up the stairs.
What are you? A?
Pardon?
Blood type.
I have no
Like,
idea.
you don't
Does
know?
I
Returning
don't
to
know
a
if we
place
necessarily all know it as much over here.
from our
It's like a
past.
thing. I don't think. And you go into a hospital in the UK
Remember
and they go, "What's your blood type?" And you're like,
Physical
I
location.
don't know.
You don't know.
No.
It's pretty
I'm
important.
one of the normal ones, but I think they all are, aren't they?
Yeah. They're all normal.
Yeah.
Well, there's a few abnormal ones.
Yeah. Okay. You turn 66. That's right, on the 3rd of January.
No, I turned 65. Oh, I will turn 66.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You
Yeah,
turn
that's it.
66 on the 3rd of January next year.
Get the age
Right.
So I was going to ask, what do the next 10 years have? I
Yeah,
mean,
right
do you
click on it
see
to get the
yourself
quest.
like Clint Eastwood directing in your 90s, or back on that Australian cattle ranch with your feet up, having a lovely time?
You got to keep busy. And I think, I've seen so many people that I know
Yeah,
they
perfect idea.
sort
Just
of
got.
get to the end of their job and then they sort of
Yeah.
deteriorate
Okay, so let's go,
quickly. So I think you have to stay busy and keep your mind active.
I don't know if I want to do that jump.
And my dad was really
See
good
here
at
in a
that.
second.
He finished his job early because he got injured, but he
there
never
like a
stopped
safer way
working.
down around here?
He did something else, He moved on to
Yes,
something.
just,
Maybe move on to something else. But I do love
we not
film-
have
filmmaking.
the-
That's the most fun. You can have standing up.
Okay, we had to turn it in
Is-
first. Let's go turn this shit in.
Is there anything, any kind of film
Never
or
gone that way
anything that
before,
you would
it's great.
like to do? Treading the boards
Really
in the
wanna,
West End?
get
Is there
enough
Oh,
anything?
yeah.
fall damage.
Oh yeah, I haven't been on
Yeah,
stage
that's-
since I was 28 because that's where I
I don't know
started.
if you can make that jump.
A lot of stage
Pretty
stuff.
far.
I used to tour with Shakespeare's and do all that kind
Yes,
of
yeah.
caper, but it's been a long time now. But it'd be nice to get back there. I'd have to get my lungs right again.
Yeah. That'd be good. It'd
That's
be
two
great to
plants
see.
over.
Input to
Very
like
often.
my
Yeah.
deliverables.
Would you go? Would you buy a ticket to go? Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Mel, it has been a delight to talk to you.
Thank you. That was quick.
He's good, isn't he? Good chat. Okay, so it's not over yet. This is where the really tough questions come in now. These are questions from the audience. Now we have some microphones wandering, so I'm going to have to shout the table number wherever you are. We're going to go first to table number 68. We're going to Bernadette. Bernadette, where are you? I don't know where number 68 is, 65. Over here,
I see
okay.
her.
So Bernadette, do you want to say your question?
So,
Hello.
Hello.
Of all the films which you have been in, which is the most personal to you and why?
Okay. Well, that's pretty easy because like I got raised in a very religious family, and it was like my dad, mom, dad, they were Irish Catholic,
Double back the other way.
very devout.
To Razor Hill.
So we learned about Catholicism and Christ and the Christian religion from a very early time. So that was a pretty personal experience for me to portray that last 12 hours in a real way, in a way that sort of would affect me and hopefully others. Yeah.
Thank you. That answered your question. Okay, table 28 we're going to next. We're going to Samantha on table 20. Ah, here we go.
28.
Good evening, Mr. Gibson.
Hello.
Of all the decisions you have made during your life to get you where you are today,
Sovereign Spirit. That's
which
right.
decision was the
Yeah,
one
so if
that
we
has
go
impacted your
back-
life the most, and why?
Wow.
More plants. More plants.
Decisions.
Like nobody goes.
Well, I think basically it was, I had an older sister. You see, there's this thing about people. Sometimes they look at you and, you can be a really messed up person. You can have so many flaws. You can
Go back,
be,
turn this one in,
hopelessly
and then
alcoholic, as I
we'll
am.
get the one for the Gnomish tools,
or-
then we can go out
or
into this
a
area
number of
over
things.
here
Yeah,
and
yeah, there's a bunch of us, We're all drunks.
do Sovereign
So,
Spirit
in
and
one
the
way or
Gnomish
another.
tools stuff.
And I still do the dry drunk thing. But the thing that separates someone from really being
That's
a
what
winner
gives you
or a
the sticky
loser,
glue that you
I
save
think,
for
is
level 60.
Right. St. John.
being able to take direction or being teachable. So I actually at one point overcame pride, I guess, and listened to her. She was about 10 years older than me, and she really kind of got in my ear about stuff. And I thought she was crazy when she said it, but she kept on about it because she saw something I didn't, and then she very carefully guided me to it, and it kind of just changed where I went in life. Now sometimes I wish I had done something else, like maybe I should have just been a chef. That's creative, and that would have been fine. In fact, I do like to cook even to this day. I love it. But it was just listening to her, I think, and just taking some advice. And she believed even if I didn't. It was pretty interesting that I just went on blind faith there with her. But she was very kind.
I missed that.
What's that?
I don't. What did you say? Okay. I don't
Can't
know.
hear it.
I don't know. It wasn't.
What did he say?
Thank you very much for your question. I hope that answered
Oh,
it there.
thank you. Yeah.
Okay,
I don't know.
right, look.
It's like,
So
Let's
What
go
do you do?
to table number 65 next. We're going to
we
come
can
to
just
Julie
figure out
McDonald.
if you're all
Julie,
good squad.
where are you? Over here?
Well, Julie, I'm here. Can you see me?
So, yeah, you're talking about
wave. Oh, there. Okay, gotcha.
Absolute pleasure to meet you.
This is
Thank you
general,
for
I
coming
mean.
to my 200 years. Most of the girls in the room here. What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
My 20-year-old self. Oh my goodness.
This is just before Mad Max.
Yeah.
Orgrimmar now?
It'd be like, don't pick a fight with a rugby team.
Sure, but let's
And-
go get the turn in
and,
Quest of the Tower.
You can't win. And don't drink so much. My mother told me that too. She said, don't drink, son, it'll ruin your life.
Get the Gnomish tool
And
thing.
I was like, what does she mean by that? When you're
Oh,
20,
that's-
you don't understand these things.
That's
so,
what he just gave me here.
I think I just would have
From
been
the
more
wreckage.
patient, not rush into things. I'm really impulsive. I was so impulsive. That's a blessing in some ways, but a curse in many others. And you don't measure your words before you talk, and it just comes out.
24
stupid.
died his back.
So it's I would tell myself to slow down, exercise
Probably
patience,
died.
exercise the virtues.
Trying to AoE
Because I
card.
wasn't doing a very good job of it at the age of 20. And I think that would have saved me a lot of hardship. Thank you.
Yeah, you should.
On the drinking front, Hollywood
Actually, no, before we go
and
to
acting
Orgrimmar,
has
let's
always
do,
traditionally been a kind of
These next two
an
quests.
environment where people would go go out and party a little
Right
bit
near
hard.
the,
Do you think that Hollywood's clean or actors
water
on
where
the
we
whole
just
have
were?
cleaned up their act nowadays? Does it feel a healthier place and a healthier
I get to
environment?
level 8.
I don't know. I think it's just gone more
You and I have a 4
underground.
Orgrimmar. I can train.
It was, yeah. It's always been
Be good until level 10.
It's always been a pretty crazy place for that.
Yeah.
But it's always been kind of underground, I think. You mean with all the Me Too stuff and
everything.
or everything, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, table number 48 next. We're going to Gillian. Where's Gillian? Oh, you're right there.
Hi, Mel. It's really awesome to speak to you. What was
Pretty
the
sure
most
I'm gonna have to
intense
fly to the center
preparation for a film you've been in?
Wow.
What's that?
Did you not hear any of that, or just last second?
Well, they all require some less than others.
I just heard you say something about flying.
Some you just wing it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure
Others,
I'm
I
going to fly
think I
to
really got
Thunder
into
Bluff.
like looking at the texts on Shakespeare a lot. Although I have to say, when
train.
we did the Hamlet film with Franco, it was I never actually did the role because we did it all backwards and upside down and front to back. So I don't know what it's like to actually do it. It's really weird. Like to do the first part last and the last part first, and on any given day you just do 2 pages. So it's all out of order and a little piece at a time. So I actually, even though I knew the story and prepared a lot with a voice coach and everything else, it was I never actually did it. What a strange feeling. And then when somebody slices it all together, that's what it is. I wanted to direct it actually with Robert Downey when he was about 30.
All these damn crabs.
And he was too fucked up to do it. But he would have been so good. That guy would have been so good as Hamlet. You know, he would have killed him because his brain is something special. And I don't know how he did that because I mean his mind is really it's a finely tuned mechanism. And I don't know how he kept it that way. I think I lived less hard than he did, and my mind's all messed up.
Thank you for that, Gillian. Talking about preparing for movies, so many actors spend hours in the gym pumping iron for roles. Which roles have you had to really get in shape for?
God, I think when you mentioned Bloodfather, I was starting to get a little bit, you know. I was eating too many bagels and too much spaghetti, you know. So I just had to get myself by the neck.
We're going to drill.
Try and exercise some restraint, be a little more abstemious in my diet. But
Yeah, you can't really save them from that.
generally, I try and stay in shape as much as I can. It's an uphill battle, man. It gets harder every year, you know.
Do you enjoy that? Are you a gym junkie?
There's 2 boxes
No,
over here.
I don't. I don't like the gym, but I do it sometimes. And it's this some guy made it in the middle of a film.
No, I guess.
Now it doesn't fit me.
Is it?
It's just a little tight, you know. So, you know, I behave myself when I know I'm going to be in front of a camera.
Should be more over to south of where you are.
So,
Okay, Louisa Kingwell, you're on table 44.
Near the ships.
Over here.
Hi. Do you have a wonderful or humorous memory
There's no more over there.
from your career which you can share?
oh my
Over
God,
here,
so many.
though.
Where do I start? Oh my goodness. Wow. You know, I've prayed some heinous practical
Yeah, I
jokes
see one
on
down
people
here.
that I can't mention
Help me.
because I will be
Help me,
burned
help
at
me.
the stake. And I'm not kidding. There's some nasty stuff, but that's always the funny stuff, you know? Yeah, I could tell you a nice story.
Are you the prankster director
Goddamn,
that
still
will really stitch someone
no
up and
eyes
get them
or-
worried?
You
No,
just,
I'm kind of soft-hearted. I
Okay.
can't go too far with it, but I did string a guy
Yeah,
out
there's
for
one
3
down
months
here.
one time. It was cruel, and he got even, and I deserved it. But
I should take this one too.
no, I can't. No,
So
if
we're
I
even
listen,
with,
honestly,
Ken.
I would never work again if I. Nope. No, yeah.
There's a drowned
It'll be all little secret.
corpse there.
No. Well, we tried. We
Yeah,
tried to get you an
You
answer
gonna come get
to
this
that
box?
one.
I mean, there's so much that I can't remember. I'm just like, 3 days without sleep. You kind of your
Yeah.
mind is like. I should have thought about this.
Who's the,
Also
when you're
crab
on set and you're
free
working with
over
someone, who's the one that you have the
Yeah,
most
some crab
laughs with,
apple
that's the
over there.
hardest to kind of get through the scene because there's too much laughter?
Oh yeah. Well,
If we're civilized
yeah, well,
about
that
it, we
was
can
fun.
do free for all.
And Donner, of course, the three of us used to like. It was so much fun making a film with
just take
Donner.
all my shit.
That's but. And you used to have the luxury of cutting up a little more when budgets
Hey,
were
you've only
bigger
got
and
a-
time
the
was
boxes
a
right
luxury.
there, yeah.
But they don't
And
have
the
that
crab
now,
is
so if you goof off now,
right over where that
it's
last
on
thing
you,
died.
and they leave it like that. You know?
Yeah.
But I used to do these things with people where I used to make them do red nose takes, you know. And everybody have a
Still
red
need
nose,
one.
and they'd put it on at an appropriate moment, like at a really serious moment, you know. Somebody
And
would
a
turn around and they
buttload
have a
of
clown
frickin'
nose on.
crafts.
And the idea was that you had to do the scene
I got one of
completely straight with the clown nose on, and it was
Got
hilarious.
0 and 1.
I even did it once in Apocalypto. I had that, you know, we had that jaguar in a tree, and the guy's hiding in a tree, and he looks around and there's a baby
box.
jaguar, and it's like meow like that, and he's like, oh, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
he hears a big roar, and he turns around, and there's Mama
Waiting
on
for
the
this
other
1%
side of him, and
crap
he's
to
like
swim
the meat in
back
the
to me.
sandwich kind of thing. So he's reacting scared. But on one of the takes, we're over the head of the jaguar, which, you know, for safety reasons, was a puppet.
This one's for you.
So the over the shoulder on the jaguar was just a puppet. And then Rudy turns around looking
crab
really
right there.
scared. And he's got the red nose on when he looks at the jaguar, right? And then the funniest part of this was that the guy with the puppet turned around at the camera and started laughing. The jaguar was like an outtake, you know. And it was like so funny.
Down in St.
So,
John, right?
I mean, that's not that funny, but
Yeah, these ones.
it cracked me up.
No,
when
I like
saw it.
that.
too.
I want to know which scene Braveheart. Have
I
we
got
seen William
Get
Wallace
the level
or a
friggin'
red
8,
nose
so I
now?
might as well.
No, but this is it.
Brian.
I cut the film, and you know we had we got the Wallace clan out of Glasgow. You
Here's
know,
good also-
Sheamus Wallace and all his guys,
yeah, might as well-
and
might
all
as
these
well
guys
finish
with a
it.
genuine article. I mean, these guys
It's a little slow,
they
but
dress like traditionally.
pretty
They're
dense
like,
here.
They don't shave. I mean, it's like they look like the burliest dudes, and they're all in the film. You've seen those faces. I mean, they're like, wow, they're scary guys, and they can fight. And so we used to do that kind of stuff. I cut the film together on something. You do it on a small screen called a Lightworks, and so you don't see the images as clearly as you should, like on a big screen. So you edit the film, and then we took the film out.